Hi. 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 I don't know what happened. The internet died. And yeah. Here I am. Turn this down. How is everybody? Let me turn down this nostalgic N64 mix. You okay? Well, I did the thing where I was human and slept a little bit too late again. But no, while I was trying to get ready and do all sorts of, things in like 5 minutes, all of a sudden I see the rip stream and all that stuff, and I'm like, what the hell happened? Yeah, it just completely shut down. The internet just completely dropped out. There you go, being human again. So much hate. God damn it, shaking my head. Ugh. I always, I used to think that SMH was an abbreviation for so much hate. Like you would say that phrase for something that frustrates you, to no end, which the sentiment is still there, with shaking my head and so much hate, but yeah, shaking my head. I still catch myself from time to time saying so much hate, or reading it as that. That's a fun little factoid about me. Look at my cup. It's a big old cup. Well, I don't say it that way. It's more like tisk, tisk, tisk. Or a phrase that I'm sure you've heard in your neck of the woods, because you're in the South. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Never want to be told bless your heart. It's not a nice phrase. That's the best profile G Fuel cup. The regular ones are too damn short for us giant people, right? I love it. I like the big size cups too. I don't necessarily put extra powder in it, but I put about the same amount that I would in a regular cup. But yeah, I do like the larger cup. And also, these ones are steel, so it actually retains the temperature. Same, I put a single scoop with more water and ice. Yeah, it's it retains temperature so much better. Oh, that's steel? Yeah, it's not even plastic. It's pretty nice. What little girl? What little girl? Every time I see a little girl, her tail wags. What is it, little girl? What is it, little girl? What is it, little girl? Use your words. Say it. What? 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 What is it? Do you want to go outside? Want to go outside? Hold on. Oh. Well, that was interesting. Hold on. I got a bad feeling about tonight. Yeah. That's one thing that I like about Liquid Death. They have an actual can instead of the toddler-sized cans like Bubbly. Yeah. Like, they have it. You get more bang for your buck, and quite frankly, the amount that you get in like Bubblies and like LaCroix and like all that, it's not enough. That's the right size for a soda because it's got like tons of sugar and whatever. You don't need to be drinking a bottle or a tall boy of that. But Liquid Death is water, and it's if you're bigger, like you don't want the drink to be over after a couple of gulps. I don't know. Big people problems, am I right? The over 6 foot club over here. I am 6'1", by the way, so apparently I have value in America, according to thoughts that don't want you to talk to them unless you're over 6 foot. I can drink a liter of water in one sitting and still be thirsty. Without working out. Nice. All right. Let us do the thing. Not that thing. That thing. Now, if I've been working out, I'm reaching for the gallon jug. Oh god, it's Officer Meekins. This is gonna be haunted, I can tell. This is gonna be cursed as shit. We'll see how far we get without the stream pooping again. Alright. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. Hey, Ryder. Ryder. I haven't checked out back. They didn't put any shit in our driveway, did they?
I don't know. Whenever I pulled out this morning, they were doing work at the end of the driveway, so...
Yeah, I know. I haven't had time to go out and check. Can you see if they put garbage in our driveway? Because that's going to really make things hard for me to get out. An ID record. Ugh. I need to drink more. There we go. All the energy. An ID card record. I see. I have the ID record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime. Just before the crime. Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too. Although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon.
Right, I see. Now, let us move on to the cross-examination.
Mystery Man. Banjo. Okay. So, unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you?
Yes, sir. Solid as a stone, sir. If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give the V for victory.
God damn it. I have to mute the TV. Oh, Lord, Banjo, it's on the TV. Why does that sound make you guys so upset?
I'd even give the V for victory sign, sir. Couldn't he just use his right hand for that?
Good. Okay.
I didn't walk further out to see
Okay, good. I may steal your car. Oh, Mama's home. Oh, Mama's home. Oh, Mama's home. Ooh, do, do, do. Ooh, do, do, do. Blimp. She only gives one blimp. Banjo will lick your face off, but Trinket will only give you a couple of licks.
Good Duggins. Oh, here we go. Hello, boo-boo.
Dog cam. Oh. Uh-oh.
Banjo.
What are you doing, buddy?
Down. Yeah.
What are you doing, buddy? Hey,
Kill yourself.
hey, Keyshawn.
My sweet boy.
Oh. Hi. You're on my arm. You're on my arm. No, I can't move my arm, Banjo. You're on it. You see this boy right now? What was that? Banjo, what was that? What was that? Oh. What was that? He likes your arm. It's his corgi nest. Corgis lay eggs.
Let's hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second.
And in the evidence room, I use their ID card. Is that card hanging from your neck one of those ID cards?
Yes, sir. This card right next to my cuff, sir. I kept it here so I won't ever forget it.
But what if someone were to steal it from you? Keeping it out in the open like that?
Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of my car? Well, the remaining time, it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me.
Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this.
Please proceed with your testimony.
When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to.
Let me see. Yes, that would be it, Detective Goodman.
What's the matter?
According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here.
So it is, Your Honor. Oh, peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and carrots. Not that prosecutor again. Hey, maybe he's behind all this. Being a prosecutor, he could...
Mommy, is that man in blue murderer?
Shh, don't stare at him. You've got the wrong color.
It would seem The inquiry committee will want to speak with you again today.
I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with the cross-examination.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him.
Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you.
Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID card, sir.
Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife.
Maybe he just panicked.
He got him confused. Oh, my ID officer? Knife. Oh, you want to see my registration officer? Gun. Everything stems from the contradictions. Let's point them out.
Mr. Wright, what do you think?
I'm confused.
What?
The problem with his ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this.
You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's show them what we got.
There's one thing that proves. So, unlike your earlier testimony, solid as a stone. Alright, let's see, I gotta present something to him. There's a record of it. The time of the crime. Detective used his card. Okay, maybe I can turn it up one now. It's weird doing this without sound. Okay. What do I have to present? Security video, handprint, unstable jar, evidence locker, rubber glove. Let's take a look at this. So, Bruce Goodman did use his ID card, but he didn't show it to him. Okay, so it's probably wanting to be... There's a record of it at the time of the crime. Had used his card. Okay, so if I were to show you this, what would you say? Oh, damn it. Save scum. Little girl, what? The detective had used his card. I'm making food. Sorry, got no comment, but it'll take long until I'm finished. That's okay. You take your time, buddy. I'm just over here trying to solve murders and whatnot. Lost item report. No. Let's see. Evidence locker. Wait. Yeah, that's 514. This says 514. What is that? What is that 777 number? There's one thing proves the man was Detective Goodman. I'm gonna try this. because that 777 number at the top is weird to me. Nope. Nope, 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 not that. Thank God this thing loads super quick. He's got a parking stub for 512. No, he accessed it at 440. Do. Is it maybe the video? No. No. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. I really think that's it, but I'm not sure which piece of evidence. Bruce Goodman, 514. Do we have anything else that places him somewhere else at that time? Maybe this? No. To enter, one must use their ID card. I mean, but do you? No. Ratter, any ideas? Maybe it's the Blue Badger. The video? Nope. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. I'm confused. Me too. Gamers unite! Problem with this ID card testimony is far... okay. That makes me feel super good about myself. It's not like Edgeworth missed something like this. What, little girl? This dog has just been staring at me this whole time. What? Let's show them what we've got. Maybe you want me to present it to this. Nope. Oh. One must use their ID card, and his was lost. There we go. Alright. Oh, let me go get the little girl out. Alright, that's what it was. His ID card was lost, but it was still used. Alright. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins.
I'm not good at waiting, sir.
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
That makes sense.
When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card.
A lost item report. It's only half completed.
But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card.
Order! Order! So, now, what does this all mean?
It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
Order! 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 Does the prosecution have a response?
I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is, well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago, you seemed content to be pointing a finger around. This isn't going to end well. Well, well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove.
Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police station at 5:15 on the day of the crime.
So
the real crime could not take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. The murderer being Ms. Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning.
the activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman.
Just so, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, you have to do something, or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Wait and see what happens. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I also walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? What happened? I lagged. We proved without a doubt that the murder did not take place in the evidence room. And now Edgeworth is spinning our testimony to solidify his argument that Lana did kill the officer. This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Yeah, and that tussle took place before 5... Well, no, they entered at 5:14. That's right. However, it cannot be said that it is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter.
Mr. Edgeworth,
Yes, Your Honor.
if this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness.
Oh? Whom do you have in mind?
Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name?
Emma Sky. Dick Shoe. I would like to call to the stand Bruce Goodman. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let Edgeworth know anything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Why is Edgeworth smarter than Phoenix? Because Phoenix is a big old dumb that gets lucky and talks to ghosts to help him solve mysteries. Fortunately, he works in the department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time?
But I like him, so I guess it doesn't matter. We will, Your Honor.
Court is now in recess.
Yay, I want to go on the swings.
February 24th, 11:32 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2.
There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana! You're the one who knows everything. Emma. You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me?
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals.
Yeah. Oh, good old Dick.
Good old Dickie. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later.
I stand Edgeworth.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe. What is it?
You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around all day on duty. And to top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective.
You better be, pal. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky.
That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked?
Oh. You mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name?
Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy.
The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them.
I can't believe you. The chief prosecutor were a witness in that case.
Miss Sky was a witness?
Files for the Joe Dark killing solved 2 years ago. Joe Dark.
Take it from me. You don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me?
Emma? But why? Why is your name here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana! This SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The... Joe Dark... No. No, Lana! That's over with! No! Emma, wait!
She ran away.
You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here.
Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be coincidence.
Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck.
I better take a good look at this file. Toko! What's up? Welcome back.
Lana Del Rey.
Yay! February 24th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 9.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Ms. Lana Sky.
Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. And he's just straight up drinking on the stand. Nice. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? I held space and it didn't work. You held space, but he's in another state.
Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization.
Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it.
Oh, I know. You're a patrolman.
As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind call it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct?
According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up.
Edgeworth is so done with his bullshit, right?
Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail.
You're at a saloon, huh?
I can't say I particularly care for your attitude.
I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I mean the security cameras in the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those.
Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those?
He's not being very helpful.
He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright. He's all yours.
Time to press. Hold it! How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room?
I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings.
You interred them.
Videos and nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape.
If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes ought to be erased every 6 hours.
Each time I'd erase the tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life.
This guy has a flair for dramatic, but it isn't going too good for him, and it's not going to do him any good. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. You're lagging right now? Anybody else having lagging issues?
They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style.
But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? My stream is fine? Okay, good.
Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
No desperado I know lets rules get in his way.
No desperados I know join the police force.
So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me,
I didn't set foot in that evidence room that day.
There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that?
Sorry, partner. Can't say I do.
I haven't been in that crypt in weeks.
How does this guy avoid being fired? You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct?
course. Back in the day, my locker was a goldmine of evidence.
And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism.
Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines.
Why is the judge questioning the witness and not the defense prosecution?
I couldn't even tell you how a bike works.
That's quite, incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe did say something like that too.
At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place?
Now, what's weird about that is if you have to use BioID with like your fingerprint and all that, you have to set it up. And so, in order to set it up, you would have to use the actual machine to get the fingerprint in the system so it can read it. So, how would new detectives come into this department, get this BioID set up so that they could use the evidence lockers because all the detectives use them, and then just be like, well, I didn't know that they use BioID or fingerprints to unlock? That's crazy. When did they... Yeah, I don't know. What were you doing in a place like that?
I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's vongole sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles?
Not at all, not all desperados eat tacos. Not all desperados eat tacos, partner.
That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson.
That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want a raise this year?" Out of ammo, Officer Marshall?
That's right, partner. Or as you call it, evidence.
Hey guys, what's up, Keyshawn?
If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Some hombres eat burritos. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that.
Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante.
My job was to keep an eye on that bone orchard.
Okay. Let's see, what evidence do I have that says... I need to check this first. Incident number SL9 closed, perpetrator Joe Dark, serial murder, death, sentence was death. Victims, Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, Neil Marshall. Interesting. So that's probably... it's probably like his dad or something. El Polo Loco es muy delicioso. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Chips and salsa, baby! Head prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth, witnesses, Lana Skye, Emma Skye. Investigation Task Force. Executive investigators Damon Gant, Lana Skye. Head investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigators Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. There was a conflict of interest here. Head investigator was Bruce Goodman. That's crazy. That would they allow that? K Horror S.
Sorpresa!
Senora Sam's. That's a little inside joke between me and Toko. We were in Spanish 1 in middle school together. God, that feels like forever ago. Oh my god. So it looks like Jake Marshall lost his dad or relative of some sort. But then, like, if you are a witness, no, that's for the trial. I guess it's okay, because the executive investigator is Lana Skye and she was a witness. I guess you would have the investigator on the case, or investigator on trial. My Wi-Fi is making me do the impossible. Interesting. Okay, so 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyways. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon at the time it went down. I will be able to live long enough to see the heat death of the universe. Damn! So, like, next week? That's really good. This shit just doesn't work. What was this? Lost item, no. Bruce Goodman. I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. Okay, so we have his handprint. I have a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. Maybe I do the handprint to this? No. Street side saloon. Figure out a truth. Let's see. I propose torture to get it out of him. Excuse me, didn't mean to do that. Mexican soap opera for people we only have 3 weeks of Spanish in the 4th grade. Yeah. That was good. I remember specifically in that class, keep in mind this is middle school, a girl was, her name was like Margaret or something like that. The YouTube clip from 13 years ago. And she was given the Spanish name while in class, Margarita, right? Which makes sense. but I guess she didn't want to be called something that is tied to also an alcoholic drink. And so in the middle of class, she asks our teacher, "How do you say virgin in Spanish?" And needless to say, our teacher was taken aback, because why does this girl need to know how to say the word virgin in Spanish? And her reasoning was completely innocent, because she wanted to be called Virgin Margarita, because she didn't want to have a name associated with alcohol. I mean, keep in mind, we're middle school, like 7th or 8th grade or whatever, so we're not even 15 yet. So her question was purely innocent, but our old Spanish teacher was just so surprised at this random question.
Virginia, you are no Super Sand.
It's true. He is Super Sand lesbian. It's so stupid and silly. Yeah, we all found it funny in hindsight, but everybody was just kind of like, you were either like, why is she asking that, or yeah, how do you say it? Okay, if I remember correctly, I was at the saloon. There you go. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. Porque estoy una virgen señora. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. Bloody, though? I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. ¿Por qué sigues hablando en español que solo estaba bromeando? I can read. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. How do you know that they were wearing gloves? The witness explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. He can only read, guys. Oh my god, oh, that's so hype. Oh, he can read. He can read. Pogs in the chat.
The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
Read this. I can't. There's too many letters. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. That's because you, how did you put it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine.
What? What do you mean?
I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Ha 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 ha. Ja 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 ja. Pro skater? I had high hopes for you. I was hoping for the perfect test subject. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no test subject. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Marshall's fingerprint. Found a bloody handprint on Marshall's locker. The print had been wiped. One of them just happened to be at the same place my bloodstain as the bloodstained handprint. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery.
Please explain.
My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened the murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. Wanna know why? The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, and the other's a type of murder.
He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different.
I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too.
So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint.
That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood in the desert. Oh, this seal of blood. In the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. That monk's not praying. He must be the murderer. Wow, that's a throwback. So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise.
This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Too bad it wasn't me in that video, huh, partner? I will be right back. I really need a pee-pee. Just give me 1 sec. Alright, we're back. What if I said I could fly? Whoa! Hey, it's Faye!
Hi, doggy.
What's going on?
Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner?
What do you mean by that?
You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind spots?
Hi, Face Day Night. Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright.
Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now.
Sure. Let's do that. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake.
Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall.
It's here! There he is. Mr. Meekins! Officer Meekins, no! All of a sudden he's gone. And then it is right there. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall.
The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less?
Very well. That's 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can clearly be seen in this video.
Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner.
Coco, I can't qualify because I don't want to be shot down or be caught, be treated as a death subject. What's happening, y'all? We're just trying to pin this guy on murder. You know, same old, same old. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit.
Get him.
You see, that comment was Chadley of me. Suggestive, arrogant, and sleazy, yet made me feel very cool. Damn. Damn. How'd you do that? How do you do this every single time with the quotes?
Ooh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Order! Order! It would seem... Hold your horses! Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man?
This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker.
Oh yeah? I call your bluff.
Do evidence locker. Here you go.
Fingerprint sensor?
We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to.
What kind of crazy talk is this?
Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this.
In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force who don't know about the fingerprint locks.
So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
I only got one word for you, partner. No! Order! Order! Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard.
I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime.
Ole, please answer the question.
What is he now, bullfighter?
You forgot he ate Taco Bell?
I believe we can figure out the rest from here.
We can.
Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in this evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion.
Well then, let's hear it.
Where was Officer
Marshall at the time of the crime?
He was here, in this locker, watching the whole thing. He's the letter K. The K is for murderer. Officer Marshall was standing right here.
So Officer Meekins didn't notice him standing there. That's almost as credible as Meekins' warp theory.
Your chamber's empty, partner. Better reload. What? Officer Meekins should have seen him in the evidence room. Are you kidding me? So, like, if he wasn't there... What? The V stands for victim, right?
There? But that's where the
Victim. Oh, that's right. Goodman was supposedly the victim that... Okay. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. I forgot. I thought the victim was Meekins for some reason. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman? He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Meekins. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? Every single time.
He suddenly pulled a knife on me.
Doggos, mobilize! Something about the officer's story puzzles me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card.
Oh, I get it.
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall?
You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence. He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim?
Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat.
This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to basics. The basics. For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of that locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. If I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot.
Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness opened the locker.
Well, what do you have to say about that?
You really want to know why? You really want to know the reason I had to open my locker? Why? So I could stuff you in there.
Huh?
I'm sure the world would be a better place with you sent off to the boneyard.
Unfortunately, unsolved cases can't be stored in the evidence room.
Now I'm an unsolved case. Something went wrong in that evidence room. That's why Marshall had to open his locker. The unexpected event itself is the reason. I better have another crack at this. Quoting the defense asserted, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Excuse me. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the law... Okay, so they want me to show the attack. Well, what do you have to say to that? Kidding me? Which part is it looking for? Is it the stupid glove again? It's the fucking trench coat. Isn't it? Oh, I can do it frame by frame by doing that, huh? Interesting. This is the glove. He put the trench coat in the fucking locker because it had blood on it. What fell out of the locker? It was a glove that they had, or he had put there to jam the locker. Guess we could try submitting that. I would have thought that it was him getting stabbed, or like getting blood on his trench coat. Later. Ah. God damn it. What does it want? What point am I supposed to point to his trench coat and be like, look, it's 'cause there's blood on it, and he had to get rid of the evidence. There's like an altercation. It's so dumb. No, don't present that. Fuck. Router, which moment is it? He comes in, opens the thing, it wasn't the glove. Here comes Dorkins.
Is this the moment? Please let this be the moment. Finally. Jesus Christ. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end. Yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
A bloody white coat.
You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker.
Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks like I underestimated y'all.
I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we?
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Marshall speaks big of Texas even though he's from LA. I mean, the houses over here were just cheaper, so he moved out.
All right. It seems the time has come.
Marshall's confession.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be?
Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor.
It was way too much blood for such a small donation. When you say it, you mean...
Do you even have to ask, partner?
The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with a transferal that day.
Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over.
What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him.
I have a plot hole question. How did the glove get in the locker in the first place to jam it open? Why did you describe yourself as Detective Goodman?
If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere.
So you did it to fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident.
So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report.
I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So, essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
What do you mean, partner?
I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker by yourself. But he could because... But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins to knock him out.
You stabbed him to death. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off.
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself into me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one?
I don't know what to say.
So, you knocked Officer Meekins out and
managed to escape. So, you did your research beforehand.
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I don't think it would make a difference, though. Security tape is erased every day, every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left.
However, you bloodied your coat in the struggle with Officer Meekins.
If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing during that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So, what you're saying is, on that day, there wasn't any murder.
But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place.
What are you, blind?
The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
Meepdums was biting.
So, you stole the evidence from the locker.
Actually, no, I didn't.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What?
Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty? Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Why you do this? Explicate.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why?
I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. Okay, now we find out who the marshal was that the serial killer killed. Better take another look at the files. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I keep feeling like the music switches between The Exorcist and Poke Centers. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor?
He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands.
But what's his relation to you?
He was my brother.
Victor Lyons!
Hey, everybody!
What's going on? This has been interesting to listen to while I've been running around the OR the past 30 minutes. Also, hi, what's going on, dude? How you been?
He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then deputy chief of police.
So angry.
The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer.
Oh lord, that is a serial killer face.
Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
And that's it. That's your reason for your insane actions?
There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened.
Not satisfied with its resolution,
Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze me. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. chance? It's got to be more than just that.
So, if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today.
But
There's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about that. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Ms. Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
there's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the securities tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant.
Here comes Emma. Yep.
Your Honor, wait!
Emma.
The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right?
What do you mean, right?
Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian?
Your Honor? Oh, in a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings?
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Skye sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
My brother bothered me and turned off my computer.
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So you did find something?
No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please, don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
But, Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them... please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you!
Me? Oh boy.
Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright, with regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. So I'm back now. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? There's no problem. Case dismissed! I object, but I don't know why. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems to be clear is you are grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Dinner time. Alright, we will see you later, Toko.
Ciao.
Have a good one, and see you on Friday. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time.
Dinner time, shitting time from eating too much Taco Bell, same thing.
Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use.
The question is, which item can prove something is missing on the floor plans? What about that piece of plywood?
The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here.
So?
So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? Imagine drinking and shaving while testifying in court. I could mention another court case where that would probably be happening, but I won't. That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
What? So that means, just exactly what does that mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker.
Don't look at me. I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in.
Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time... Yes. Dramatic pause.
Someone bled prior to the struggle on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker, or the bloodstains on the carpet. Annie, are you okay? So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who is posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room.
That's right. The blood mark on this locker proves it.
Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place?
Probably this. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Ho! The ID card record!
Officer Meekins brought the blue badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here,
4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ha! Ah! Miles Edgeworth! Just what have you done? I never would have figured you'd have the nerve, boy.
Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me.
Nope. I ain't getting it at all. I'm afraid I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Let's take a look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7777777.
That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. What?
Explain yourself, son.
The ID number 7 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
But that's ridiculous!
Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such an authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge.
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yes?
No, not you. To her. The defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number, and it's not 7.
Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana, I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence.
Well. See? That's what I'm talking about.
No! No!
Order! Order! Order!
Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom would have to wait until the following day.
Illegal!
Well, this wrapped up quite nicely, because it's just about time for me to go. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope my voiceover is pleasing to your ears. I appreciate y'all being here with me for this fun day of trialing and erroring. Huzzah! According to Ratter, this will be the final stint. We'll be doing another day of evidence gathering and then the final day of trial. So looks like we are at the tail end of Phoenix Wright #1. Join us on Friday. We may also be finishing up Fallout 4. We're pretty damn close, according to people and our little guidebook. And then Saturday, speaking of tail ends, damn, we're wrapping up a lot of things. We will be starting a little bit early on Saturday, but we will be doing the final Lego Harry Potter castle build. That'll be at 5 p.m. CST. So look forward to all of that. And then Monday, more Persona 5. Whee! That's code for good night, y'all. Nighty night, good people.
Bye, have a great time.
Thank you guys for joining me, and night night, and don't let the evidence forgeries bite.
Good night, y'all.